We have several topics for today. And first, I posted assignment 3. Assignment, you could do assignment 3 based on previous week. So technically, even if I don't finish today's topic, you can do assignment 3. So it is entirely based on the previous week. And today's topic can be used if you want to. So today's topic is optional in assignment 3. I said it explicitly there that it is optional. And the reason why it's optional, I'm not sure how much I can explain of it. So this is why it's optional. And you'll see. Okay. Dice game Angular. Previously discussed, and it was used to introduce services. Actually, it was used to introduce Angular. Then we used services to separate business logic, and eventually we used navigation to create 2 pages. One it is for rolling dice, and one for displaying history. And in both sections, we also typed some code for history service to store roll history. But I asked you, please finish template to display the data. And I promised to show results, so it was now it is about 1 week since I asked you. So I assume that you either did it or you didn't, but I posted my solution, so I will quickly show and discuss it. So my dice Angular. So let's quickly clone it. It's probably quicker to clone than to synchronize it, because you type it, I type it, and it's probably out of sync. So if you try to upload difference, it will go into conflict. So I copy it, and now go to projects and current section, dice game. And there is no folder, my dice game Angular, cool. So I can clone it there. Clone repository, section, projects, this section, open, Command V, Command C, Command V, clone. I already have it. Is it right section? 29. I made mistake. Projects PROG. Projects PROG 29. My dice game Angular auto trash. Okay. Clone. And after cloning, we typically need to run npm install for Angular projects. And it's done. So let's run the project and see what was added, and I quickly explain the code that I just added. So it started. And this is the front page. It is for dice rolling. So I said 3 dice, roll dice. I said 2 dice, roll dice, say 4, roll. And now we created this link to the second page, and we created a roll service. And I asked that probably in one of the sections that we will store roll data in the array, and perhaps like have a history total updated. So each time when we roll, it will insert roll data, and it will update total of entire history, entire number of rows. So when I go to history, I get values and total and history total. So I added extra variable to roll service. So when we click roll, it is not just adding to the history, it's also updating total. I added in one of the sections, I'm not sure which one, but or at least discuss it in one of the sections, I don't remember, but eventually I added this part. And When I click clear history, it will go to clear and it's gone. So I have if to either display table or display this message. So I will show that. When I go back to roll dice, 3 roll history, and at the previous lesson we discussed why we shouldn't create regular href links between pages because it will destroy data, because it will reload the page. And it is the reason why we should use router link, because router link will not reload JavaScript, so we don't lose variables. These addresses exist in address lines for external links to link from outside to the program. For example, the bookmark or some other web page has a link to Angular program. So if a server is configured right way, it will take your program to the page, but it's not guaranteed that it will preserve the data. Obviously, because it will restart JavaScript and variable values will be lost, obviously. Not lost. It will not be recovered because you run it before, then you close the browser, open it again, and you go to your bookmark, and of course it's new program run, so you will not have this thing. So if you go to bookmark, it will be equivalent to pressing enter because you go to the address in the browser. So this would happen, yeah, okay. So obviously data is lost. So in order to make bookmarks work right, we need to preserve data either on the server side or in the browser, depending on your choice, right? In the browser, there are local storage, so we can store it there. And it is next thing to learn in the next week how to deal with that issue. And today we will, and we also continue with getting data from the server side. So at the next week, we will learn how to send data and store data on the server side. Today we will learn how to get it from there. And we previously already started learning how to get it from there. And we also learned how to preserve data in the browser in case if you make such decision to store it in the browser. So you know how to do it. You're already familiar with cookies, but there are other ways as well. So let's see the code. In the class, we added one more piece of business logic besides the dice roller service that is generating dice roll data. So we have method get roll data that give us roll data object that contain number of dice values, which is array and total. In addition, we created roll history service at the previous lesson. And it is storing data as array of roll data objects, and it has a history total, which is updated each time when we add roll data. So when we call add roll data, which is public, we pass parameter roll data, which is pushing roll data object to the array, right? And it is also adding part that comes total from the roll to history total. Okay. When I call get history total, it's returning history total just. And when I call get roll history data, it is returning history data. When I call clear, it is resetting array to empty array, and it is resetting history total to 0. So I added this extra logic in order to make it work consistently, right? And this history service is injected into dice roller component. You see, it is roller service and history service. So each time when we roll dice, we get roll data, and we pick this roll data and add it to history service. And also, I need to inject history service into history page, obviously, because history page is displaying it and resetting it, because there is also reset button there, clear button. So, in my roll history page, okay, I'm injecting history service. So now history service, and I did declare private variable for this service. The reason for it is clear history, because I need to call clear when I click clear button. There is no other choice. I have to clear, I have to have reference, preserve reference to the service in order to call method from the service. And I have history total variable, which is displayed on the page in role history data. It is, I just copied. The other choice is to display it directly from the service. It's another choice. Okay. So when we go to this page, it's getting data from the history, getting from the total, and on clear history, it is resetting this to empty, it is resetting this to 0, and it's calling clear. And what did I add to the template? I have if because I'm either displaying I click it roll 1. I click it roll 1. History, this template. I have a if because I'm either displaying table or message. Right? So if length of the array of role data objects is more than 0, I'm displaying table. See, this is a table, which is header, count, values, and total. And I'm running loop that repeats table row. See, table row. Table row is repeated in a loop. I display index +1, which is count. I'm tracking index because it's supposed to be unique. So it is for optimization of the Angular loop. And then raw data values, and since it's an array, I need to display it somehow. So I join elements of the array with, and this is separator. Space plus place, another element. Space plus space, another element. And I'm displaying last column, it is total. Total per row from the row. And I have another, below table, I'm displaying history total in the page. Okay. Otherwise, it is else of this if. Okay. I'm displaying message, no history data. And I also have a clear button that is calling on clear history method, and you already saw what it's doing. It is setting array to empty array, setting total history total to 0, and calling clear on history service. So this is how I did it yesterday. Yes, because I wanted to post solution in case you didn't do it and you want to look what's there. Okay, any questions? So this is the first thing, and hopefully it is kind of more or less straightforward. So definitely this program is not preserving the data, and it's not communicating to a service in any sense. So it is totally local to a browser. And as this is intentional, later we will try to figure out how to add those features, like at least to preserve data in the browser. So it would be also part of example how to store data in the browser. Okay. So I will stop this from running, and next topic for today is, this is nice game, Flower Data Angular. We already discussed it, one version of it in the previous lesson. In that version was getting data from the same server that is serving Angular application. This data was coming from the file, but it doesn't mean that we use special API for the file. This version of the program was using a trick because RESTful services are based on HTTP protocol under the hood, so they are compatible to some degree, and functionalities overlap. Why did it work? Because if we send GET request from JavaScript to the address of a file to HTTP service, to HTTP server will send content of the file. And if content of the file is JSON, it will be JSON. So behavior of HTTP server in reaction to GET request will be content of the file, and in this case it is JSON. What if it is RESTful server? We send GET request, we get JSON. So behavior is the same. So for this reason, program works. But definitely a lot of functionalities are missing, because if we have RESTful service, we can ask, give me the rows data, give me the Fadil data. But if we have just content of the file, it will be all or nothing, everything in the file or nothing. So for this reason, I had to filter the data when I wanted to have ID, like get by ID. Okay. So I asked the data, everything, and after this, in order to select rows, I was looking using find method of the array to find element with ID rows. Today, a version of it will use RESTful service, and it will send request to RESTful service, so that part is simpler. And data is slightly different, so I had to readjust code a little bit. Also, today's version of the code will display error messages like no connection to the server, cannot reach the server. Previously, I couldn't do that because it is still the same server, so it didn't make sense to. Technically, it was possible, but it was harder to imitate this error message that no connection to the server, because if I turn it off. So if I turn off server, Angular will not be available. So I would have to load Angular program into browser, and after this turn on server. So it cannot get file content. So I decided to move this functionality to the version that is using separate server to get the data. That I will discuss today. Okay. And today we will also talk about Angular material. And this topic can be extremely large or extremely small, depending how much you want to dive into it. But at least we should have an introduction into this topic, and today we'll have introduction. Angular material using Angular material is optional in the assignment 3, because we have only part of the lesson on it, and if I require this in the assignment, I'm just kind of playing with fire, so because it's limited time, and I use it in assignment only if you finish it without it and you want to add it as a fun. Okay? So let's go to next topic. And next topic is getting data from the server. In this case, the server is actually a separate server, not the same server that is serving Angular application. So let's open Flower data example. We cloned it at the previous lesson. It is exactly the same code. So let's open that. Flower data, Angular. I can close this game because I'm not referring this to this anymore. Flower data, Angular. Data service. This is how we left it in main branch. A main branch is not using a separate server. It is using the same server, and it is getting data from catalog JSON file. So our JavaScript that resulted from compiling Angular application sends GET request to the address of the file, and HTTP server will send content of the file. So this is a behavior. So in our service, Flower data service, this is my business logic layer that is asking, give me the data using HTTP GET request. Key point that I forgot to mention in class, so I really need to emphasize it right now. Please notice that this constructor receives injection, dependency injection of HTTP client. You know that for some dependency injections, we need to specify extra, like defining service. For some, we don't. For example, like router, active router, this active route or router. Injection we don't need to specify. It really depends what is happening by default in current version of Angular. But for HTTP client we do, otherwise program will not work. So in order to make this program work, I had to exit file called appconfig. So again, it is critically important, otherwise program will not work. So I added this line. In appconfig, I added provide HTTP client. Otherwise, it will not be able to inject HTTP client into the service, and it will not be able to call the method of it, get request, that has get request. So if this line is missing, what would happen? What would happen if this line is missing? No data, essentially. But if you open browser developer tools console, that console window will tell cannot inject HTTP client. It means this is not provided. It means this line is missing. Okay? So, if this line is missing, you will not get data, but console window of developer tools will tell cannot inject HTTP client. So when your program misbehaves, there are two places to check for sure. One place is run window that appears when you click run button. It will appear here, run window. And if something bad happens, it will be messaged here. And then another place to check, it is console window of developer tools in the browser. So if some error, it will happen here. So if your program still doesn't work, but it doesn't show errors here and in console, it means it's logical mistake. It's not coding mistake, it's logic. It's coding mistake in the logic of your program. For example, if it doesn't display something you didn't call methods that is displaying it, or you didn't actually put variable inside of the template, so you don't display it because you don't have that part inside of the template that's supposed to display it. Or if your program is using navigation between pages, but it does not show any page, probably you are not showing any page by default. So it doesn't redirect to some page shown by default. Okay. So if your program does not print errors here and it does not print errors in the console, but it does not behave right, it probably logical mistake in the code. So look for it. So you do show some page by default, or you do have some output in the template that you want to show. Okay. So this is behavior. Also, at the previous lesson, we discussed debugging, right? Not previous week, we discussed debugging tools. Make sure that when you do assignment, you have that developer tool for Angular installed in Chrome, so you can open that developer tool and see how it behaves. If it misbehaves, it will help you to debug. I've already discussed that in order we can see instance variables of components directly in Angular debugger tool, right? Or if we want to see methods, variables inside of the methods, we need to put breakpoint inside of the code. It will stop and we'll see variables there by moving mouse on top of the variable. And we can do stop like steps, or you can just put another breakpoint and run till that point. It's easier. So since it is the first assignment in Angular, assignment 3, really need to start earlier, like really tonight, because who knows, it's the first assignment. You still build your programming skills in this particular area, so please start early, so if something goes wrong, you have extra time to fix it. If you finish it right away, cool, you have time left after that. So please start early, like tonight, about assignment. So do not postpone it. And the assignment will be discussed today. Once I finish this part, I will discuss assignment. So this service is getting data by sending GET request to this location. You see, data catalog JSON. And what is received? Content of that JSON file. So HTTP GET, and this is address, and this is expected data, catalog.json. I did define this part, and this part is defined in the file that I created specifically for this JSON structure. So what is inside of this file? Definitions, and I matched these two definitions inside of this part. So I want to split this window horizontally and here it is. So this is data inside of the file. Catalog.json, it is entire piece. It contains array, named flowers. Array, named flowers. Array of what? Flower JSON object. So this is flower JSON object. This is flower JSON object that contains this, and picture object. You see, picture JSON object contains this part. So if I send request to RESTful service, I need to match the data that is received from it. But please notice that this is interfaces. It means if it contains something extra, it's cool. It will not break the code. But you need to declare only things that you use or things that requires this code to be compatible with received data. Okay? It is indeed an issue because data sent by the server that we're going to use is not exactly this data. So I had to change code slightly in order to match the data. So the next part is to run this service, see flower data service, and see what kind of data it sends. We already cloned this before because it was part of probably week 5 or so. So I assume that you clone it, or if you didn't clone it, just clone it. Flower data service. I will open it from hard drive because I need to run it in order to see what kind of data it is serving. File open, projects, this folder, flower data service, open, new window, because I need to run two things at the same time because this program will pick data from it. Right? So I run this code, and it is serving data at API/flowers. Localhost 8080 API/flowers. Localhost 8080 API/flowers. And you see that data is not 100% the same. And you see that this part, catalog.json, starts right here. So I have extra wrapper around it. So in order to stay compatible with the data sent by the server, I need to define one more object that is wrapping catalog.json. Because you see, there is a wrapper embedded around catalog.json. This is catalog.json. Okay. So I will stop this program. And we'll switch branch to using server. So using server checkout. That piece is gone because this version using server doesn't have that file. But I still have definitions inside of interfaces. This program does not have images. It's empty, see? And this program does not have catalog.json. Because it will pick this data. So this is catalog.json interface. But you see that catalog.json interface is wrapped, this is catalog.json, is wrapped in the object that I call it data.json that has underscore embedded catalog.json. Okay. So I'm trying to match the data that's coming from the server by defining extra type that is wrapping catalog.json. Correct? So now let's see other changes. Flower data service. What do you expect? Data.json. not catalog JSON, but data JSON. So get in this is expected type. What is in pipe? Data transformation. So now, in order to transform array of flower JSON objects into array of flower objects, I'm running map over that array. But in order to reach array, it is data under dot underscore embedded. So this is data. Dot underscore embedded. Dot flowers will give me the array. So this is array. And I'm calling map method of the array to create another array. So now it is the same. Okay. So what would we do? This map method of the array. Pick one element of the array and apply this transformation to create element of the another array itself. Okay. So it will do one by one mapping to create new array. So this is data transformation of everything, right? But now, since it's data server, I have more options because it's processing the data, right? So I can do slash rows, and it will give me data about rows. I can do slash daffodil or whatever. I'm not sure I spelled it right. Daffodil? Yeah. I'll give you data about daffodil. So I don't need to get all flowers and filter it out after this, because now I can access specific flower. So I changed that logic. Here it is. Get flower by ID logic is different because now I can access specific flower from the server. I don't have to add get all flowers in order to select specific flower afterwards. So what do? I send get request to that address /ID. You see, I'm using a JavaScript template. JavaScript template, it is backwards. Right? And when we use our JavaScript template, we can insert code of variable values, in specific case, variable values of a code inside of the template. So I'm sending a result of the template is a string. So I'm sending get request to the address localhost 8080, okay? Localhost 8080 /API/flowers and ID of the flower. So this address, you see localhost 8080 /API/flowers, and I'm joining this one, joining with slash and ID of a flower. And now I receive, what do I receive? Flower JSON object. So this is flower JSON object plus extra stuff. And this extra stuff is what is called hypermedia, right? Hypermedia. Since I define it flower JSON object as interface, receiving extra doesn't matter because it's just extra data fields inside of it. Interface defines what is required, right? And this is required, this required, this required, and this is not listed. Okay, it's not required, but I got it fine. Okay. I receive a data satisfied interface. This is important, right? Interface, it is what is required. So now I do data transformation by calling pipe on observable. What is returned by get is observable. So observable that will receive the data. And I define pipe that will do transformation on the data which is received by taking flower JSON object and creating flower object. So what did I do? I replaced API of the service. I replaced implementation of the service. Right? But API is the same. It means if I keep the rest of the code the same, it should work. Right? So this is the beauty of reasonable code organization when we apply separation of concerns. So if we replace one part of the code, changes do not necessarily propagate to other things. So if I would just change the service, it should work. Okay? But I decided, okay, since I started to edit it, I will do other things. Okay? So code would work if I just changed that. But I added more. To show you that you can display error messages directly if you want to. So technically this program has, when you display the page, has 3 states. A loading state, when you just navigated to the page sends request to the server and it's waiting for the data. So it is loading page, a loading state. Okay. Success or received state, when you receive the data and you display this. Or error state, when you send request and you got error in response instead of actual data. So both pages, like page listing flowers and page showing just one flower, which is details page, have 3 stages or states. Loading, success, and error. Okay? So I thought how to do it nice way, and different APIs use different approach. I tried to imitate Android approach, didn't do it. Didn't work. So I decided, okay, I will do brute force. So I created flag variable that is storing the state. So since it is 3 possible values, it really makes sense to define enumeration type so we don't have to remember which is which. So I define it enumeration type, call it loading status. And regenerate enum loading status, and I edit loading state, success, and error. And my 2 components, component displaying table and component displaying delays or details, I have a flag variable that either loading state or success or error. Depending on the flag, I'm showing different things inside of the template using switch. So let me show, for example, I'm going to details page, here it is. I have a switch loading status, this is a flag variable. Switch loading status, and you see in case of loading, I'm displaying message loading data. In case of success, I'm displaying data about the flower, because now I received the data. In case of error, I'm displaying server connection error. So it is brute force. My component has a flag variable that I call it loading status. It is this one, loading status. And the type is loading status, which is either loading or success or error. When you just navigate to it, it will start load. So this initial state is loading. Okay. So what is the next step? When I receive it, I need to have a mechanics to update this variable in case of error. So when I subscribe for update, you see this one, get flower by ID, subscribe. What was before? Previously, I provided lambda function that was called when data is received. And what would be called when error is received? Nothing. So previously, it was not able to show errors. Now I subscribe it with object. And this object is called observer. It's observer object, right? Am I right? I think so. Okay. And this object contains two fields. And each of these 2 fields is lambda function. Field next, which is called when data is updated. So when it was undefined, when some data came, so it is updated. Next. In second data field, error, which is lambda function, call it when error comes. So what happens when data comes? Here it is, next. Flower is assigned, so this is the data. Flower is assigned to this flower, this. Okay. And what happens when error comes, loading, and first, when data is assigned, I'm changing loading status to success. And when error happens, this is still undefined, right? And I change it, this part, to error, right? So template shows error message. Okay. How to deal with it if I have a async pipe? You remember from previous lesson that template table page is using async pipe to make it short. So I didn't subscribe explicitly in the table page. So I was thinking, looking, I couldn't find answer. So I decided now I will do brute force. In the catalog page, which is shown table, I switched code to brute force code by subscribing. You see subscribe. And I use it the same approach. I subscribe it with object that has two fields. One, it is next field. It's lambda function called when data comes. And the other, it is that field. It is arrow field that is lambda function called when arrow comes. Okay. So I replied the same idea, but now it is for table page. I couldn't figure out how to do it with the async pipe. Maybe there is one, maybe there is not. I couldn't find it, so I decided, okay, I want to make it work, so doing this brute force. Okay? And logic of the page is the same now. A catalog component HTML has a switch, and if it is overloading status, if it is loading, it is loading message. If it is success, it is stable, and if it is error. So let's see how it works. So I run this program. So it started. Here it is. So this is table page, right? And this is details. Going back to catalog, and now I will stop server. And not Angular, this is Angular server. I will stop server for the data. Okay? So I expect to see error now, right? So I stop at server. Now with my Angular application. So now this app running in the browser cannot connect to server because I turn it off server. I click on Carnation. Here it is, server connection error. Okay? So a switch worked because flag now it is set to error. Right? And go to catalog again, server connection error. Because I have a switching template based on this loading status. So it didn't crash, and here there is a message. Nice behavior. Okay. We didn't see loading because loading happened so quick, so that was just a flash, so we didn't see it. What if we really want to see that part working? Okay. Technically we can. And there is one way to do it is probably hack that server logic to make it delay, right? Data. I decided that, yeah, I will do it simpler. So I made artificial delay switch inside of the program. So it's not hacking the server, it's actually inside of Angular code. So I will restart server. So server now is running. And now I will reload the page, and now is the page. Okay. I will go to Angular app. So this is Angular app. And I will delay processing the data in the pipe. So it will just create delay for the UI, for user interface. I'm going to the service, and you see I have delay of the processing the data in the pipe. So UI will receive it with delay, but program will not have delay. Okay. So only it will be delayed in the UI. So this method will insert array of flowers into observable delayed. So This will delay in the pipe by 1 second because it is in milliseconds. So this is 1 second. And this will also delay processing received data in the pipe by 1 second. So it is just to see if the message shows up inside of the component. Okay. So let's see. I'm going back to here. You see loading data, delay. Loading data, comes. Okay. Obviously, this is just to debug a template, right? Just to debug component showing the message. So it is indeed shows up if data is delayed. Before the break, I discussed a version of Flower Data example that picks data from the server and also picks images because it is storing location of the folder of images in this variable. So it picks images from that server. So it's, they don't have it in this branch. They don't have images locally identical. It means it seems logical. For example, its server is serving data about catalog and images are linked to catalog. So they are on the same server. So just it is the logic why I moved images to the data server because they are related to the JSON. So I will stop Flower Data application and I'll close it because now we finished with it for now. I stop it and I close it. Next, our Flower Data service also I will stop it and I will close it. So next step is to discuss assignment. Let's do that. So for the assignment, rules are, it is the first application in Angular, so please see, but we've already discussed it a lot, so it is not first discuss it, but it is first the first assignment. So please give yourself enough time, start early, so if something goes wrong, you still have time to debug it. Do not start last moment. Today we have an additional topic, and this topic is using material design with Angular. Since it is discussion of it is limited, using material design is optional in this assignment. So if you want to use it, cool, but if you don't use it, it's still cool as well. So what is the application? You need to demonstrate your knowledge that you have how to handle 2 pages, how to share data between pages using service, and how to use forms. So in your assignment, you need to use Angular forms for the input. I do recommend reactive strictly typed forms because this is the most flexible way of dealing with it. So reactive strictly typed forms. Next, you need to demonstrate service to share business logic and data between pages. So you create some calculator service. So input form is picking user input. User input calls method from the service. So calculate based on the data. A result is stored in the service, and output page shows calculation from the page, from the stored data from the service. Result of the calculation on the output page. So what is input? You need a number input, which is like text input with specification that it's number, which is validated. You can, you know, when we discuss it forms, Angular comes with predefined validators. And when you input number, you can set validator more than 1 cent, like more than 0.01. So that number must be at least 1, so more equal this or mean value 0.01. This will discard 0 and negative numbers, which is good enough for me. So it is tip calculator. So bill the cost of service. It is number input. Second input, radio buttons. You can use different numbers. It is just for sample. But if you use different numbers, please write it next to radio buttons how many percent it is so I can check it. Otherwise, without reading, looking for the number in the code. So 3 radio buttons. Then one button, one checkbox or switch input, which is roundup tip. So roundup means use ceiling method of a math package of JavaScript. So ceiling, it means if it is 4.25, it will round up to 5. So if you don't use Angular material, it will be checkbox. If you use Angular material, you can use switch because it is extra GUI. Angular material comes with extra GUI options. And click OK button, and it will show result of the calculation on the second page and also input. So our second page should show results of the calculation and your inputs like cost of service, tip amount, and total. Okay. So this is what is expected. You cannot just zip project and upload it because it's quite large. So copy project into separate folder or just use whatever original one, but you need to delete 2 folders. One folder, it is node modules folder of the project, and also find folder called .angular. .angular could be hidden depending on you. If you have Windows or Mac, it could be hidden folder. So you need to switch UI of computer to show hidden folders. If you cannot find it for some reason, just do not delete anything random, obviously. Because sometimes it happens, I don't know how, but some students just see word Angular in some file name and just delete that one. No, it's not. Okay? So if you cannot find this folder, just don't delete random stuff. Okay? Definitely you need to delete node modules because this is large one, and if you cannot find that one, okay, fine. It's probably Slate will take it. And if a Slate doesn't take it, find how to switch UI of your laptop so it shows hidden folders. So it is hidden folder. Okay, and after that you zip it and upload it. When I get the code, I will run npm install and it will recover this, generate this automatically. Definitely you should not delete random stuff, because if you delete just something that appears extra, it may break the project. Don't delete random stuff. Okay. I don't know why it happens, but it's always at least one student that just deletes random stuff. So this is why I'm worrying worrying that this situation happens. So, and when it happens, of course, I cannot run the project, and it's counted as not running project. Okay. And so this is about Angular material. So next topic for today, it is Angular material. I will use projects that I already explained without Angular material because I don't need to re-explain business logic of it. So which project is that? It is a project meal preference. I used meal preference project to explain forms. To explain 2 kinds of forms. One kind of form was template-based forms, and reactive-based forms with strictly typed reactive-based forms. Reactive forms. I suggest you to use the second one because this is the most flexible one, so it's better to practice in more general case. If somehow you don't make it work, try to do template-based forms, and you will not lose credit for that if you use template-based forms. Okay. So let's open that project. It is the same code, I didn't change it. So last time when you clone it is good enough. Okay, so I will open it from hard drive. Otherwise, you can clone it. IntelliJ, and this is a meal preference project. So this is your section. Here it is. So we ended lesson with discussing reactive forms, no material. So quick reminder. So let's run it so we remember what it shows. Okay, how it behaves. So you have a input page. In your assignment, you will have now input that is typed here in validation. In this case, validation is some character. In your, you specify validator mean value 1 cent. Okay. Then you will have 3 options: service, quality, like good, bad, good, excellent, so whatever. And round up or not round up. So it is similar. But it's not copy paste, and you need to do calculation. So once it is valid, right, you do calculation in the service when you submit it. So on submit, we'll do calculation inside of that set or whatever calculate method that you call from the input page. And when you go to output page, you just display stuff for this, what was input and what is calculated. So logic is the same. So I assume that if this was understood, logic, because it was explained to class and recorded, you can do assignment. So what is Angular material? Angular material, it is implementation of material design, and material design is recommendation from Google how they think web and mobile applications look and behave good from their point of view. Okay, so it is recommendation for the look and behavior of applications, web and mobile applications. So they describe material design on the page called material design, and this page contains description of it. How from their point of view, fonts should look like, and UI should look like, and organization when menus show up, how buttons behave, and all this stuff. It does provide descriptions of various components. For example, you go list and it will show from their point of view how list should look like, and links to specific implementations like Android's Flutter implementation. So this page describes, like for example, you go to checkboxes and describes how from their point of view checkboxes should look and act, and so on. So this is just description page. Implementations pages are different. So you go to develop, they provide link to Android implementation, Flutter, and web implementation. We will use Angular implementation, which is not linked here, and I don't know why they didn't link it here. So there is also Angular implementation of it, and it is not this one. It is separate. If we use Angular implementation of material design, it will make application look similar to Android app. Somewhat. So provided that we can have a larger screen, it's not necessarily phone like a tablet or whatever. So somewhat similar to that. Definitely it does not come for free. You have to change code. And there is a learning curve. So this is why it's not required in assignment, only if you want to invest extra time into learning how to use it. So if you just include material design packages, it will only change font and nothing else. And you will have to change HTML and also component code. You keep business logic, obviously, but component code in HTML templates should be different. Otherwise, it will just stay the same, look the same, only fonts will be different. How to deal with it? First, I want to show version that looks like using it, right? So I will switch, I will stop it, and I will switch it to template based for material design, material checkout. Force checkout, and now it wants npm install. Why? Because material design is using extra libraries, and when we did npm install, it installed only libraries without material design. Now we switch it to the branch that has more libraries. Now we need to install that one. So I click npm install. Okay, and now I run it. Okay, so it's still not like Android app, obviously, but it's you see that UI stuff looks different. And again, fonts are also different, but it didn't come for free. I had to change HTML and I had to change a TypeScript related to HTML. Okay, so let's see how it behaves. When we type something, you see that this is JavaScripted, so its label moves up. And if there is arrows, this changes color, so arrows appears here. So we do need to change layout because now it behaves differently, so we need to wrap it in specific tags related to material design, Angular material. Also, radio buttons look kind of different, checkbox looks different, drop-down list is different. When it is valid, I made it activated so we can go to next page, and I didn't change this one. I changed it only header and footer. Okay. So how to use it? So let's do it step by step, and change some appearance, or at least to see how it behaves. So I will stop it. So I have a version with template based and with reactive. Okay. Now I want to switch it to some version that is. Now doesn't matter. Material design is on top of existing code. So you really have to keep logic of the form. So if you start with template-based form, you keep logic of the form, but you change tags related to appearance. So when you go from no material to material, you keep logic, but you change layout. Okay, but you keep the logic. Layout, you change layout tags. Application of it is similar to template-based forms and reactive forms. Unfortunately, on their website, they do it interchangeably. So this is why I explain it both. So when you learn material design, some examples they provide for reactive, some examples for template-based. So technically, you need to know both in order to understand the current code. So it was my rationale to explain both. So I will switch back to main, since it's simpler. Main checkout. And I will create branch, and I'll call it experimental, to experiment with material design. So I'm going to git and find, this is main, okay, this one, and I say new branch and say experimental. Experimental, and I created the branch, so whatever I commit there, it will not conflict with other branches. Okay. And now it is experimental. Next, where to find information. You go to material.angular.io or click on the link which is on Slate, material.angular.io, material design link for Angular, this one, material.angular.io. By default, it comes with 4 themes, but you can customize it. You can also create custom theme. So how to look? How they look? They have like 4 different sets of colors and appearances. And when you go to components, for example, checkbox, you will see how checkbox looks like. And there is also components looks. So it does come with icons, special switches, you see. So this is, before looking for something, you can go to top level page and see what kind of options available. But before you use it, you need to add packages to your project. So you don't have to create project without material and add material after this. You can work with material design right away. You don't need to convert project. So potentially you can create empty project, add packages, and use materials right away. This will probably save you time. But there is no textbooks, as far as I know, that starts directly from material design. So they teach Angular, and after this they teach Angular material because it's extra information. Okay. So how to start? So I will switch to different color, so easier to follow, to see. So you go click on material and click get started. And you type this to address line, or not address line, to terminal of a browser. Okay. So terminal, and you paste this piece or type it. And here. Now it will ask you which of these themes you want to use or custom. So you use arrow up and down to select one. So this is blue rose, so I selected rose. Okay. Do you want to use fonts? Typography means fonts. I will say yes, because kind of nice fonts. Say yes. Do you want to enable animation so you can move up and down arrows button? So I say yeah, use it. And now it is installing it. So by default, it will only fonts will change. So you will have to recode HTML and also component code in order to make other things work. And now let's start it and see that fonts change it. You see fonts different, but everything else is the same. Good. Gaps may be different because there are some. What did it do? It changed index HTML by including fonts and icons. It also changed styles by adding these fonts there. It's also changed files that related to packages of Angular, so it added Angular material packages. So there are 2 files related to it. These 2 more, this one and this one. Okay. But in order to use Angular material, we have to change code. So what is the approach? For example, you do it either by changing existing code or you just do it right away. For example, I want to deal with buttons since it's simpler. So let's start with this button, right? And change this button first. Next step, you need to find it on Angular Material website, how to deal with it, because this is changing all the time. It makes sense memorize only if you use it all the time. Otherwise, it's not. I will close things that I don't need it, so it does not get me confused with so many links. Angular material. I go to components and I look for button. Here it is, button. So which one do I want? Doesn't really matter. There are overview. There is overview page, and you can see code of this page. And there is also examples page, and you can see code of this page. Okay. So it really depends what you look for. You go in overview, you may find it there. Otherwise, you go to examples and find it there. For example, I want this flat button like that. Okay. So I click code, and I find that flat button. Okay, label, example. It's probably easier just to go back and see. Copying, no, captics. Sample. Okay, overview. So, which one it is? Flat. This one, basic, not good, raise it, flat. So I will do it from overview because it's easier to find here. View code, we have a basic, raise it, stroke it, flat, here it is. And now I'm looking this is disabled, but I want this one. So what should I do? Based on the code, I just need to add this piece to the button, right? So I'm going to my HTML, I will copy this part. And after this, I will need to import specific code into TypeScript, because this part will not work without import. So after I copy paste it, I need to import it. And there are two ways to import it. One is to rely on IDE itself, and because it will ask you, do you want to import it? You just say yes. Another option is to open TypeScript. You see TypeScript, and see what kind of stuff you need to import. Definitely not divider, because this is divider, right? Not icon, because you are not doing mod button module. A recommendation on this website in the code is not the same as in IDE, but both works. Just don't make sure that you don't do it twice the same import, because it may go into conflict. Okay. So sometimes it says import module, sometimes it is import single component. You don't do both. What is module? It's a wrapper of some components together. So module is bigger. Okay, so it's your choice either to import entire module, and if you import entire module, you copy paste from this site. If you use IDE most likely will import just one component, and when you do another component similar, you just do it again. Okay. So I will do IDE option. Another option is to copy paste it from here. Right? So I'm going back to HTML code, and I want this mod flat button. Copy. Next, I'm going to my input page. I will close things that I'm not using. Okay. Input page. Input component HTML, and find this button. Here it is. Remember what we discussed? We keep form logic. We don't delete it. We only change appearance by changing layout. In this case, what is required is mod flat button. So I paste this piece. Okay. You see it's yellow. It means something wrong with it. So I move mouse on top of it, and it will tell me that I need to import mod button. I imported this one. Sometimes what IDE tells you it's not enough. You will have to look up documentation and import something else. If it doesn't work, you look up here, and if something is missing, you read these messages and see what is missing, so you need to import something else. Because now I go to my Angular material. And now you see button is updated, right? So let's see that it is changing color. Yes, it's changing color when it is valid. And next, do it incrementally, right? So let's look at checkbox the same way or something else. This is more interesting because this is a text input with error message in it, right? This is also interesting because it's also wrapper. So how much time we have? We have 20 minutes. So let's keep checkbox for now because this is similar to logic is not very different. Let's replace this part, which is more interesting because it has multiple stuff on it. Okay. So I'm replacing text input. And after this, you apply the same idea again and again by just replacing pieces or just looking directly in Angular website and copy-pasting it. Memorizing it, it's absolutely waste of time in my opinion because next year could be somewhat different or in 2 years when you need it. But logic is preserved. I did it through several years, and once you understand it, this careful looking up. The key point is to keep form logic. Do not delete form logic. Okay. The only difference is that for radio buttons there is extra wrapper around it. So in Angular there is an extra wrapper for radio buttons to make it a group. Because without Angular materials, you know that every radio button tag is just kind of on its own, but name is the same, right? In order to make this work, you give the same name. In Angular materials, there is extra wrapper tag around them, group, radio button group. So let's go here and find that piece. That is called something like, let's see, table, no. Batch, no, card, checkbox, chip, date, picker, dialog, divide, special. It's form field. Okay? And you click at form field, and you see it is kind of what I want, right? This one. Okay? So let's do that. I click on view code, and it is marked form field, marked label, and input, and there are two choices. This is for select. It is different, marked form label, text area, marked input. And there is also input. Okay, so let's check input. For input, also it is similar. See? And this is for multi-line input. So let's see the code. Marked form field, marked label, input, and this has extra. It is placeholder. It is what it appears, and it is value. It is shown by default. Form field. It's similar. Okay. So it is marked form field is wrapping, and error message will be part of it. It will be inside of this field because error message will appear inside of. It should work together. So let's do that. I'm going to the top here. So I need to have marked form field as a wrapper around this piece. Marked form field. It says appearance outline, but it doesn't have to be appearance outline. This will create a frame around it. Marked form field, it needs to be imported. Import marked form field. and it is wrapping everything including arrow. Okay. This label is technically mat label. So let's check. You see mat label. So I need to check this label to mat label. And you see this is for arrow. It's helping for mat arrow. Okay. So mat label, it is, and this mat label needs to be imported, but it didn't import. Perhaps we will have to import it separately. This is the case, what I mentioned. Sometimes IntelliJ does not tell you to import it, but eventually you will have to. And now you see class arrow, but this is not class arrow now, it is mat arrow. Right? So it is a mat arrow. And say just required. Say this is required. So as you see, I'm keeping formal logic, but I'm just changing appearance. And mat arrow needs to be imported, right? Mat arrow. This is mat arrow. Mat arrow. Okay. And now it didn't tell import. There are two choices. It could be already imported automatically for us, so we don't have to. Or it will show error when we run it, and when we run it and it shows error, we will need to import it. So let's run it. It didn't work. You see, mat label is not known, so we need to import it. So this is IDE didn't tell us, but we need to open it. And you see mat button, mat for field, we also need mat label. And as you see, we also need mat arrow. Otherwise, we'll have the same issue after that. Okay. Now let's go here. What it says, mat arrow required. So let's stop it and run it, because sometimes you need to really rerun it. Still missing something because it's not showing, right? So let's reload this page. Still missing something. So let's find out what is missing. Input component HTML, let's open it. Form, mat form field, mat label, input. I'm missing this, right? Remember that input has extra piece here. And just because I'm missing that piece, it's not showing up. So let's find what is missing. Mat input is missing, right? So I need this piece. Copy, inside of input. Paste, mat input, and it is yellow, we need to import it. Import mat input. Okay. Here it is. Okay. And now label, it's kind of not nice because I have column and some dot dot, who knows what it means. So I need to replace that piece, right? So first I need to get rid of this column. And label, in this case, is not wrapping input. Label goes on its own right here. How do I know? I look it up. You see, label is not wrapping input tag. It lives on its own in front of it. Okay. So this label, and after this we have input. So let's see what kind of beast we created. Now it is nicer, right? So if I touch it, I leave it, and it shows arrow. It appears like it works. So let's put input in it, submit, and it did submit it. So you got the approach, right? So it is careful looking up and matching appearance, but do not delete logic of the form because you need the logic in order to make it work. Okay. So I will switch. So you apply this logic, and I will switch to final of it. So I will stop it, and I will switch it to another branch, and this will be template-based form material checkout. I need to commit into experimental, otherwise it will not save the changes. Okay. 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 So I commit and I call it partially converted. Commit. And after this, I'm changing this to template-based form material. Checkout. And this is a result of doing this tedious conversion. So I will run it. Okay. Obviously, I pick a different theme, and this is blue one, not pink. So let's see a layout. Of the input component HTML. Now we have radio group. See? So this is different. Sometimes when you do layout, sometimes you get extra wrappers, like extra wrapper around form field that is wrapping label, wrapper around radio group, wrapper around drop-down list, because you see it's wrapping label and drop-down list together. Please notice that in order to go around the bug, I had to change value to ng value. Remember, I explained this in class because it appears like it was a bug. So in the code without Angular material, it is using ng value because value just didn't work. But when I switch to Angular material, ng value doesn't work, so I need to use value. So obviously it's not perfect. It's not consistent. So it has to be value with Angular material. ng value just means not understood. Okay. Okay. This is template-based forms, and there is also a variant for reactive forms material. So reactive forms material. Where is that? Reactive form material checkout. Okay. In this variant, I didn't add drop-down list. So do it as exercise. So this variant with reactive form material doesn't have portion size selection. How to add it? You have with template-based forms, it's the same layout. You just keep template logic, you just keep form logic and copy-paste layouts, either from Angular material website or from examples that has it. Okay. So you see there is no drop-down list here in this version because I didn't do it. Okay. So if you care, try to put it. If you don't, just wait till I do it, and I will post it later. Okay. Any questions? So using Angular material, as you see, it is just tedious. If it doesn't, you copy paste thing. If it doesn't work, you go back, look up documentation more, and eventually figure out what is missing. Memorizing this is absolutely bad idea unless you do it as primary job. Because I do it, and next week I don't remember what I copy-pasted. I have to look up. And the year after that, it is different. So something is changed, so I have to look up again. But approach is stays the same. So once you understood that, you just need to look up layout, look up imports, and make sure that it works together. So check if it doesn't work, you find why it doesn't work, and check it again. So it is an iterative process. And learning Angular directly starting with Angular material, it just doesn't work because it is a lot of tedious copy pasting. It's better to learn Angular without material and switch to using material design only when we need it, if we need it. Okay. And again, in assignment, this extra piece is optional, definitely. Make it work without it, and if you care, add it after. Okay. Any questions? No, it's no questions. I will stop recording and I'll post it tonight. Stop.